Okay.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of the Values Workshop. This series that I'm doing is called The Other Side of. Technically speaking, the other side of a pilot, teacher, professions is what I'm covering. But in my mind, from day one, I have been covering a point of view. So, in the present one, when I'm talking to Bhageshwari, our guest today, uh, she is a student. Welcome to the show, Bhageshwari.
Thank you.
So this is going to be called the other side of a student.
Okay.
So in your case, I've been thinking, what is the first question one can ask a student? So the first question is, what are you studying?
Currently, I will go to TI BCom. That will start from June 2nd or 12th. No proper this. And CA intermediate, November attempt.
Oh, okay. So you are the one with numbers. One of the things that was crossing my mind when I was thinking this, the student journey is a long one. From the time we enter school as kindergarten students to the time that you are about to reach where maybe in a year or two you will be finishing your student journey. What is it at this juncture that you think is good about being a student and bad about being a student?
स्टूडेंट बनना कभी कोई बंद तो होता नहीं है. एवरीबडी इज ऑलवेज लर्निंग समथिंग और द अदर एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम और द अदर. तो स्टूडेंट का फेज तो पूरे के पूरे लाइफ में कभी खत्म होता ही नहीं है. इवन आफ्टर यू कंप्लीट टीवाई बीकॉम और इवन आफ्टर यू कंप्लीट एनी अमाउंट ऑफ ग्रेजुएशन डिग्रीज मास्टर्स व्हाटएवर, you never stop being a student, because either life throws lessons at you or by any other way or something you end up learning something from somewhere. बट सेइंग एज एन एज का स्टूडेंट, जब तक पढ़ाई खत्म होती है बोला जाता है कि हाँ भाई तुम एक स्टूडेंट हो. ठीक है, तो एज एन आई थिंक बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट ओवर हियर इज अ लिटिल मोर हेक्टिक, अ लिटिल मोर प्रॉब्लमैटिक. ऑल्दो लाइफ के लेसन्स आर बहुत ज्यादा, मतलब वो तो सीधा एक्सपीरियंस होता है. यहाँ पे यू आर लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंसेस इन बुक्स, यू आर लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंसेस थ्रू डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. जैसे तुमको अलग अलग तरीके से बताया जाता है कि हाँ ऐसा मत करना, नहीं तो यू विल एंड अप गोइंग इनटू अ सिचुएशन जहाँ पे तुम्हारा एक्सपीरियंस विल बी बैड. बट आगे जाके देयर बी नो वन टू टेल यू ऑल दिस. आगे जाके लाइफ विल सडनली throw stuff at you and then you have to go ahead with that. So that is like one good part of being a student, and one another part of being not one disadvantage of being a student is that ये कि हेक्टिक है सब कुछ, कि सब जगह से प्रेशर कि पढ़ो 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 पढ़ो. एंड आई प्रेफर एक्सपीरियंस. सो
Do you think it becomes monotonous in a manner where you feel that the other aspects of your personality gets stifled?
100%, बिकॉज मैं वही बोल रही हूँ ना कि बुक्स के साथ में रह के एंड कॉन्स्टेंटली अपने ऊपर वो प्रेशर डालना कि तुम्हें ऐसा बनना है, that is not possible. We shape ourselves into a particular person looking at what kind of things happen to us, or looking what kind of atmosphere or what kind of environment we are brought up into. You cannot make a person into a particular thing when you pressurize a person कि तुम्हें ऐसे ही करना है. तो
Who is the
वो
person who
मोनोटोनस
is
आ ही
pressurizing
जाता
you,
है.
the society?
हाँ, एंड एज एन एवरीबडी की लाइक बीइंग अ गर्ल ऑल्सो, कि इस तरीके से नहीं बैठना चाहिए. दैट इज समथिंग दैट वो चलता ही है, जैसे मतलब वो एक स्टीरियोटाइप जैसे बन ही गया है. तो वो भी एक जैसा है कि लाइक नहीं, मतलब समवन हैज टू डू समथिंग डिफरेंट. दैट इज व्हाट मेक्स सम अ पर्सन यूनिक. दैट इज व्हाट मेक्स द मोनोटोनस थिंग्स कि भाई ये ही चीज करनी है, वो नहीं होना चाहिए ऐसा.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you are saying the free spiritedness that
हाँ,
every person has.
that gets killed, exactly.
So, okay, if I will throw this question back at you, what are you doing to ensure that the free spiritedness that you have gets retained after your formal part of learning or studentship is over?
I keep it at my discretion. If I think that the other person, whatever the other person is saying, let it be anybody. If I think there is a point in that, like a very valid point, कि हाँ भाई वो कुछ बोल रहा है तो कोई कुछ sensible है that I think is necessary to bring a change in myself, I will. बट इन केस मुझे ऐसा लगेगा कि यार ये तो सिर्फ प्रेशराइज करने के लिए ही है, जैसे हम लोग को सेकंड स्टैंडर्ड थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड वगैरह में हम लोग को बोलते थे कॉपी दिस एंटायर चैप्टर एंड कम, दैट इज एंटायरली यूजलेस, दैट इज नथिंग यू कैन गेन आउट ऑफ इट. Okay, there is no point in doing that. So that is that one thing I believe कि है ही नहीं जरूरत. Why do I have to copy a chapter?
Did you copy it or not?
I never copied it. Once or twice I did because मम्मी के पास complain आया था, but otherwise I never did it.
Good. This is something that is looked down upon, or
Yeah.
this kind of questioning, which I think for all this thing that we are taking India back to the great ages, this was one of the things that was encouraged during those days, that you ask the tough questions and your gurus used to encourage this kind of behavior. The society, specifically in today's times, at the rate it is changing, women are facing multiple challenges. On one hand, things have changed for you all. On the other hand, there is still the same thing of sit like this, talk like this. I personally am in favor of those things, not only for girls but for guys also. I think it helps.
नहीं, sit properly as in like
हाँ,
even if I'm at home, that is what I said. Like not in public, obviously that is different. But if I'm even if I'm at home, वो एक लॉजिक जैसे बैठ जाता है कि तुम शादी करके जाओगी एंड वो फिर ऐसा ऐसा that goes on, that train of thought then goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is not, in that sense, I definitely agree with you. I personally do not agree on personal freedom being encroached upon within the boundaries of our homes. But when I did my BA, they had this line that the first sociological behavior that we learn to adhere to and on part of the society is taught to us by the parents and our family. So they keep on saying, do this, don't do this, so that outside when you go, you're already trained like a good dog, I think. And it's true of males and females, not only females. Females have it more, unfortunately, but that's the way social structure is. Do you think rebelling on the face is better or biding your time is better?
I prefer bottling up my emotions until I feel it is necessary to burst out. Because rebelling on the spot is more like ऐसा एकदम ये immediate, like कुछ बुरा लग गया and immediately बस ऐसा बोल दिया. It is not that way. मतलब I believe कि वो एक पर्सन का कुछ तो भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम रहेगा, कुछ रहेगा, इसलिए he might have said or she might have said something जिसके वजह से that thing might have come to me. And वो टाइम पे rebellious होना will make it worse for the other person also. So I prefer bottling it up until I know what the other person is exactly thinking of the particular topic. And unless I'm very sure कि भाई हाँ this person is going in a wrong direction, only then I'll rebel out कि हाँ this is something that you should change about it.
Bottling up sounds like a negative term. You want to still use that or you want to change that?
I think I do it that way. So I think I keep it to myself.
Because bottling up may mean that it is like a soda and it's going to burst someday. So
No.
it is only a
I keep
matter
it
of
to
time.
myself.
Yeah.
I keep it to myself until I'm totally sure कि yes, now I have to speak about this. Only then I'll go forward to speak about it to somebody.
Okay. One of the things that I did with myself, I'm not a girl, so I do not have those kind of pressures. I never had those kind of pressures. Most of the time, I anyway don't have to think about it because my own life revolves around other things that you are doing, and you take these privileges for granted. So there is not much thinking that goes into, oh, girl is allowed this or not allowed this. till the time there is something that makes you think about it, but otherwise it was never the case. But having said that, there are other issues in life. Society has its own pulls and pressures for all of us. I have found that not talking about it and waiting for my time to have my say, in the sense of not trying to make a point, but unless it is necessary, not even bringing up the topic, figuring out a way around which is my way rather than, because black and white are very strong positions to take on any issue, and I don't even mean this issue in particular. I find there is a middle way which nobody is bothering about because it's far too subtle for them, and I have managed to have a very good life living my kind of life thanks to finding that way. It takes a lot of effort because uh, initially you do get heated up when somebody is saying no to something that you're proposing. And while revenge is a good dish when served cold, I don't have that bandwidth to think and feel angry about anything for long. I think it's always been the case. I've been always a little happy-go-lucky. So my question to you comes from this space. With the kinds of pressures that are building up for students today, from parents, from teachers, from the society itself, and the technology bringing a completely new paradigm, something that our generation doesn't understand no matter how much it claims to, because it's far too big for anyone to comprehend where it is going.
Right.
How do you view the world? And I don't want you to give me an answer which is more for all students. I want to know how you particularly are feeling about tomorrow when you're on the verge of के अब 2 साल में जॉब करना है या जो भी अपना बिजनेस करना है, जो भी करना होगा, अब दुनिया यहाँ पे पहुंच गई है कि सब तो कंप्यूटर ही करने वाला है. मतलब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज encroaching about my space. I know of IT people who are very good at their jobs, their space. How do you as a person on the edge of both these things, studentship as well as a life that is about to start, where we are anyway challenged and curious and disciplined and determined and ambitious and all kinds of things. Now you have one thing which is saying that all of your things may be invalid. How does it matter what you think about it? How, or do you see it like that, or do you see yourself as empowered? What do you see?
It is very very correct कि कल क्या होने वाला है किसी को पता नहीं है, कि कितने सारे चैलेंजेस आने वाले हैं, कितने सारे अलग अलग तरीके के एक्सपीरियंस आर गोना कम माय वे. क्यूरियोसिटी इज देयर, प्रेशर इज देयर, बिकॉज भले ही टेक्नोलॉजी वगैरह आ गया एक्सेट्रा, तो ऑब्वियसली जॉब्स, द अमाउंट ऑफ जॉब्स दैट विल बी गेटिंग will reduce automatically. But the reason I was asked to do CA was because this is that one profession, or there might be a lot of other professions that cannot be replaced by technology or whatever, because signature, that one signature, that CA ka jo power rehta hai, that one signature is something that nobody else can do except for a CA, irrespective of I don't know how much ever knowledge any AI anything has. So इसलिए ये एक प्रोफेशन चूज करना वो एक प्रेशर को कम कर देता है कि इररिप्लेसेबल है ये पर्टिकुलर जॉब जो है, कोई ये जगह ले ही नहीं सकता है. इफ आई एम करेंटली अ सीए by any chance, by anything, if I become a CA, this place that I'll sit at will be irreplaceable. Because
you're sure about this, or is it a hypothesis?
It is not a hypothesis, because a signature that I will do, whatever sign I do, that particular paper is basically signed by me, and nobody else can do that same thing, as unless it is forged, but nobody else can do that apart from me. So वो एक pressure भले ही कम हो जाता है, but the pressure that comes while doing this CA is definitely something a little problematic kind, क्योंकि वो इररिप्लेसेबल बनने के लिए, वो पर्टिकुलर सीट पे आने के लिए उतना ट्रबल लेना कि फेल पास का क्यूरियोसिटी, एंड प्लस वो क्यूरियोसिटी कि इवन आफ्टर डूइंग सीए खुद का फर्म खोलना है, किसी के अंडर काम करना है, उतना अमाउंट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए, वो आता है साथ में। एंड लुकिंग एट द प्रोफेशन आई वांट टू चूज आफ्टर डूइंग सीए, उसके लिए आई हैव टू वर्क मोर हार्डर, और उसके लिए मुझे कुछ ऐसी चीजें करनी पड़ेगी जिसके वजह से सीए विल बी एन एडिशनल क्वालिफिकेशन फॉर मी। तो उस ऑलरेडी सीए के में प्रेशर झेल लिया, एंड प्लस ऊपर से और क्यूरियोसिटी, एंड ऊपर से और आई एम टेकिंग मोर रिस्क फॉर द थिंग दैट आई एक्चुअली वांट टू डू, माय पैशन। तो
Okay.
उस चीज का प्रेशर है, वो पैशन का प्रेशर है, बिकॉज जो जिसमें पैसा है वो तो ठीक है, द चैलेंज कम्स जब वो पैशन को फॉलो करना है, बिकॉज सब लोग सपोर्ट नहीं करते वो चीज के लिए। व्हाट यू
बराबर.
वांट टू डू यू हैव टू गो बिहाइंड इट ऑलवेज, you have to be very very clear over there ki irrespective of whatever comes in your way, irrespective of how, I don't know how many experience, how much curiosity you have, how many problems you have to face, मुझे वहां पहुंचना है। वो एक स्टूडेंट का जैसे साइकोलॉजी रहता है, आई थिंक पर्सनली मेरा ऐसा है कि सीए भी उसके लिए करना है कि मैं वहां पहुंच पाऊं, या तो खुद से या तो किसी के हेल्प से आई रीच ओवर देयर, दैट इज द पॉइंट वैसे।
Okay. So one spanner in your works. You've been going on a nice flow. Let's ask a difficult question now. On one hand, it is good to have ambition and clarity and working on dreams, having a passion about something. On the other hand, we realize life may not be as simple always. It may throw up new things at us which are unpredictable. At your age, do you see that factor ever, or you think about that factor ever, or it's one more thing for adults, it is their problem? Let us just keep on doing what we are doing right now.
होता है, that is there, 100% it is there, because you are following two different ways. One is to satisfy your financial and etc needs in the future, and one way is also financially, but more support is from the other side that everybody else is asking you to do. So you are stuck in the middle of this, and to do both of it is more of a pressure.
No, this is not the question. The question is, this you explained very nicely before, in the answer you gave before this question. This particular question is about the unpredictability of life. Is that ever a question that arises in your mind, that something, if there is something that is stopping you from achieving your dream, if times like those come, is that a contemplation at all, or that is unimportant?
इट इज देयर बिकॉज वो, दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड, वो प्रेशर उसी के वजह से आता है, बिकॉज दैट अनप्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी इज देयर। इफ आई वाज वेरी वेरी श्योर कि हाँ भाई मैं पास होने ही वाली हूँ, देन दिस प्रॉब्लम्स और देन दिस प्रेशर वुडंट हैव बीन देयर एट ऑल। तो वो
No, not the
अनप्रिडिक्ट,
result only. It is, see, you're still stuck to the academic part of it. Academically, this is there. But life may have some other thing that is coming up which requires you to pick up some responsibility, some other path in life, or some other interest in life. Suddenly, one fine day, you wake up and you want to be a filmmaker.
या
You don't know why that happened. It just entered your head and you saw some Insta reel and it just gave you the love of your life that this is what I want to do. अब और कुछ नहीं अभी I had the, I'm actually speaking from experience. I studied engineering and I was working, I had a job for around year and a half or something. And just by chance, I wrote something for a friend of mine and then she suggested I try this and I started doing well. Then I started doing well in the other job that I was doing in my engineering. And then finally I made enough money to come and convince my parents that look, I want to pursue this dream of mine. So they gave me a couple of months. On the last day of those couple of months is when I got a job. So everything, uh, was unpredictable, but just that whole love of, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. This is play of words, and I'm getting to be a writer. There are other people who are in the world who are doing this kind of job, and you get paid for it, and it's a good enough profession. Just the fact that I didn't know anybody, not a single person who really understood this profession. Not my family, not my friends, not the farthest of farthest relations. So that was a struggle that was completely different. And even when I got a job for the first year, I couldn't tell anybody that what I was doing was why it was so great. So if I did something which was extraordinarily big, there was nobody in my circle who would understand what was extraordinary. Because having cracked an idea or say writing a line which you see on the hoarding on the road and you're like, wow, like this is it. It can't get bigger than this. And then people don't know that you've done it or they don't care. They say, oh, good line, yeah, okay. It's not a good line. I went sleepless
You
for many nights writing that very damn thing. So my question comes from what if something like that happens? And I'm not even saying what if it happens. I'm saying, do you consider that this kind of thing might happen to you and you may not
De-
be.
Definitely. Rather, if I were to be very honest, till a very big span of my till date, rather, the passion that I have decided now, it was after introspection of being in CA for 3 years.
Oh,
कि ये नहीं करना है, ये करना है. I am not interested in this. That was the logic that worked for me for my passion. Let's speak about my passion also. It was a teacher. I want to become a teacher anyhow. मुझे ये करना ही नहीं है. Like this, I am only doing for the financial purpose, only so that I have some monetary help. What I want to do is this. Rather, now I'll speak about what was that introspection. Originally, टीवी पे देख लिया, रेमो डिसूजा को देख लिया, चलो आज के बाद डांसिंग करेंगे, डांसर बनेंगे. वो एक स्टेज तो सबके लाइफ में होता है कि जिसको देखा वो अच्छा लग गया, बहुत अच्छा लग गया, यू आर इवन गुड एट इट. लाइक डांस कर लिया एंड आई एम लाइक हाँ यार मेरे से अच्छा कोई भी नहीं है, मैं तो आज के बाद डांस करूंगी. देन उसके बाद देखा एस्ट्रोनॉट देखा तो मन किया हाँ यार तारे पसंद है, चांद पसंद है. आई व्हेन यू लुक अबाउट एंड यू फाइंड पीस कि हाँ यार आई फाइंड पीस ओवर हियर, दिस इज मेंट फॉर मी. then you go ahead, then you go to water the plants and then you feel like हाँ यार इसमें भी खुशी मिल रही है, तो मुझे अभी एग्रीकल्चर में जाना है. तो there are a lot of phases where you want to become this, you want to become that, you want to become this. But after a span there is this point where you think about it very cautiously कि हाँ भाई मुझे कुछ ऐसा करना है that is actually bringing me peace, happiness, every factor together.
yeah.
तो आफ्टर दैट, आफ्टर ऑल ऑफ दैट, आई डिसाइडेड कि हाँ अभी टीचिंग करना है. बिकॉज सीए करते टाइम देर वर 3 to 4 ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स जिनको मैंने एग्जाम के पहले पढ़ाया. उसके बाद आई केम टू अ फाइनल कंक्लूजन कि हाँ दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज मेकिंग मी हैप्पी एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई कैन, दिस इज समवेयर और सम प्लेस और सम काइंड ऑफ environment where I can help others also. So what is better than making yourself happy, helping others, following your own passion? And that is where I came to a conclusion, okay, this is something that I want to do. And now in case if I find something that has more factors than teaching, मतलब टीचर तो बन गए, बीएड कर लिया, सब कर लिया, whatever I had to do खत्म कर लिया, टीचिंग भी कर लिया, एक्सपीरियंस भी मिल गया. एंड देन टीचिंग करते करते आई फाइंड कि यार इसमें भी कुछ अच्छा है. I wouldn't mind going over there also because life is too short to keep on thinking कि ये job कैसे छोड़ना है. Once I have an additional qualification CA, I already have financial help. So this is something what I want to do. If I find something else that I want to do, I wouldn't mind changing.
This is very interesting because you are not only talking about your student life, you are also talking about using your academics to find out new ways to explore life.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful lesson there. Tell me something, a lot of it is invested in the future, but one has to live in the present. So what is it that you tell yourself when you're going through the drudgery of having to pass an exam or crack a difficult challenge in your subject? What is it that you tell yourself today? Not someday I'll become the CA, become a CA, वो नहीं, वो तो obvious है because that's why I study. But आज तो ये एग्जाम ही पास नहीं हुआ रहा है या जो भी चैलेंज ही नहीं समझ आ रही. On a bad day, what do you tell yourself?
So this might be very new for every student. This might who might be listening to this, but I am one of a person जो exam देने जा रहा है. Originally, I'll be very tensed, very tensed कि क्या होगा, कैसा होगा paper. But as soon as the paper comes to me, or I am 10 minutes before the paper, I'll be like, यार हो गया, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. अभी तो हो गया, बस जितना पढ़ लिया ना खत्म. While I am going to give the paper, that I'll think about the future कि paper कैसा आने वाला है. But when I'm going into the exam hall, तभी I won't think of the paper. I'll be like, अभी तो जो होगा देखेंगे. अभी तो कुछ सोच के कोई फायदा तो है नहीं. That is when I believe कि हाँ अभी present में रहना जरूरी है.
That is wonderful. How do you view the other challenges that come to students vis-a-vis social media, parties, whatever it is that your present generation is doing to while your time? We have a point of view, obviously we say you are too much on the phone, and you may also agree you are too much on the phone or whatever. All of those things happen. But at the core, as a student, you can speak for yourself. That will be more helpful than speaking for the entire community of students. How do you deal with this pressure? Because it is equally necessary to be in touch. There is peer pressure of sorts. You need to be on every platform. You have to connect with each other. That's the new way of talking to each other. But it is also equally, I speak from personal experience, that it can waste a lot of time, and even when good information is being gained, sometimes it's too much of time and too much of attention that it takes away. And it really slows down my reaction in other spheres of life. I find myself challenged now because the dopamine rush is not there. And how do you see it in your life, and how do you tackle it? Do you have any modus operandi of on and off, or what?
I think whatever said is absolutely perfect. कि social media definitely is distracting, and everything else is even I find it very distracting. But there is nothing, I think, hardly anything someone can do about it, because पता है एक जैसे वो एक पता है एस्केप फ्रॉम रियलिटी जैसा हो गया है सोशल मीडिया कि पढ़ाई नहीं करनी है. आई एम डन. लाइक वो एक पॉइंट आता है वेर यू आर एब्सोल्युटली डन. यू कैनॉट टेक एनीथिंग फर्दर इन योर ब्रेन. यू आर डन. एंड तभी ऐसा लगता है कि यार अभी तो सोशल मीडिया देखना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज इट एक्ट्स एज अ स्ट्रेस बस्टर. एंड जैसे सोशल मीडिया खोलो, यू विल सी रील्स ऑफ यू आर डन मीम्स. So you find somebody even in मतलब a mobile, someone so relatable that you end up being with it for a point longer than you want.
Yeah, which is my
And वो
concern.
चलते ही जाता है,
Myself.
चलते ही जाता है. Just reel scroll करते जाओ. You'll not get bored because एक पे एक relatable meme, एक पे एक some or the other meme that will make you laugh. Obviously, पढ़ाई will not make you laugh. You always want an escape. So that is why social media ends up being something कि छोड़ो यार, इसको नहीं करना है. अभी हम लोग ना थोड़ा स्क्रॉल करते हैं, थोड़ा टाइम पास करते हैं, एंड वो थोड़े टाइम पास के बदले में पूरा दिन निकल जाता है. एंड देन एग्जाम कम्स नियर, एंड दैट इज द चैलेंज वी हैव टू फेस कि अभी ये कैसा देना है. सो व्हाट वी कैन डू फॉर दिस, व्हाट आई हैड डन फॉर दिस वाज फोन स्विच ऑफ कर देने का, एंड आई पुट इट इन द कबर्ड. बहुत मुश्किल है, वापस मैंने उठा के लिया था फॉर 3-4 डेज, उठा के चालू करके यूज किया था, बिकॉज इट इज दैट अडिक्टेड. आई एम दैट अडिक्टेड टू इट. बट एक पॉइंट के बाद ना वो आदत लग जाती है. वंस यू स्विच ऑफ द फोन एंड कीप इट असाइड, या तो वेट फॉर द बैटरी टू गो डाउन, उसको चार्जिंग पे रख दो, उसके बाद यू सिट टू स्टडी. इवन दैट वर्क्स. वंस यू स्विच ऑफ, वो कंटाला आ जाता है कि चालू करो, फिर बाद में सब करो. वो चक्कर में एटलीस्ट 1 hour 2 hour you end up studying, and that is the time you realize यार कितना टाइम चला गया, ऐसे कैसे किया मैंने. एंड वो फिर वो चक्कर में you end up realizing कि social media is a bane.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing that I want want to ask off the syllabus. Do you ever wonder about the purpose of life or how we have come about to be human beings or why you are the way you are and those kind of esoteric questions? Do you ever think about those things or are they very impractical?
I do think about it. I do, but I don't think about it a lot because मुझे पता है अभी है तो करना तो है कुछ तो. Like it might not be without a purpose. I don't think of the purpose, but I'm very sure there is a purpose. So I continue doing what I'm doing. ऐसे questions आते हैं, but I try to avoid it because I don't want to think a lot about it. I'm like ठीक है अभी आया है question मतलब definitely कोई purpose है. ऐसे ही बिना कोई मतलब के तो कोई भी आया नहीं. If birth हुआ है तो there is definitely something that I have to do and there is definitely something everybody has to do who is associated to me also. So yeah कि purpose है but क्या है वो कभी सोचा नहीं है.
The podcast was the purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Found it.
Well, we can always think of anything as the purpose. I think the purpose is the present moment always. I find of late one of the learnings is more one is able to live in the moment. The more one realizes one is not really addicted to anything at all. We may claim that we are or we are this person and that thought process and this addiction or that addiction. But actually it is freedom. Every moment you become something and you are no longer that person because you start conflicting with your own point of view within 2 minutes sometimes. If you're objective. If you're not, then you're stuck because you say, oh no, I like red color, I will never, there will never be a time in my life when I will not like red color. But those things are temporary. If we realize that, okay, let me relook at my love for this particular color and what is, after a while, I say, it's only a color, man. What am I getting so acid? I have found that is very liberating in terms of freedom, not only from others, but from my own self. Because I don't think we realize that we overburden ourselves with ourselves. कि मैं तो ऐसा ही हूँ, मैं तो ऐसी ही हूँ, मैं तो यही टाइम पे सोता हूँ, मैं तो यही टाइम पे खाता हूँ, मेरे को तो कुल्फी अच्छी लगती, रबड़ी नहीं अच्छी लगती, मैं ये ना वो. We have too many do's and don'ts within our mind, and it is so claustrophobic. I realized this only after I have started looking at the moments as much as I can. Obviously, I am also still on a journey. But whenever that happens, I keep saying, you need to be wise like this. But in a minute, I'm otherwise already.
But now when I think about the question that you said, I think of all of this only while I'm away from the phone. You cannot think of all of these questions when you are with the phone. Like ये जो जब से पेपर वगैरह खत्म हो जाता है, when you go around to roam around or whatever, when you're listening to music, when you find कि हवा बस ऐसे बाल ऐसे उड़ रहे हैं, when you look at sunrise, when you look at sunset, you realize, man, this is the purpose. This is the moment that I'm really enjoying. This is the moment that I'm probably living for. कि ये देखने मिला है मुझे. वो एक पॉइंट आता है स्टूडेंट के लाइफ में सिर्फ जब भी पेपर खत्म होता है. Otherwise you are with books. But that is the only point where you feel like you are living, not surviving, you're living.
Maybe that is interesting because effectively it still means you're walking back from your class to home. The time is actually free, you're not studying. But that means we need to cue ourselves more to come back to the moment because maybe with a friend you're talking and it may be any conversation. And do you know, that place I had gone and they have good shopping options in this or that. And suddenly both of you are quiet and just walking and you realize how much you enjoy that friend's company or how much that quiet is important to you. But we don't see it as important enough. And that gap is required because the other continued sense of being through studentship or work or working at home or being with parents or being with friends, every time you're being something. But when you're just enjoying, हवा चल रही है तुम क्या कर रहे हो उसमें? तुमको लग रही है मतलब तुम ना होते कोई और होते, तुम काले होते, लंबे होते, घने होते, लड़के होते, लड़की होते, कोई फर्क नहीं है. It is quite democratic that way that we can all enjoy those kind of moments. I wish they were having a subject like that in school now that I think of it. Where they allow you to sit, don't do anything.
Leisure.
Just leisure or recreational. Whatever you feel like you want to draw, you want to paint, you want to laugh, you want to dance, you do whatever you want. This 15 minutes, even I think 5 minutes or 10 minutes of this would make
Will
a
be enough.
huge change in the psyche of the studentship itself for everyone. Like the teachers will get relaxed that this, maybe I should send a letter to my daughter's school after she finishes school, considering that they shouldn't take it out on her, saying what kind of things is about. Good. I think this has been a wonderful discussion. I had a very good time, Bhageshwari. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.